I want to welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. Have you ever noticed that God's greatest commandment, Matthew 22:37, is an impossible command? Loving our God with all of our heart, soul, mind leaves no room for sin or doubt. Would this be a paradox for Roman Catholics that breaking God's greatest command is not considered a, quote, mortal sin within the church? Well, whether within or without what we know as the Roman Catholic Church or the Church Universal at large, let's address the, quote unquote, impossible command. You're absolutely right. What we know is this, quote, commandment because one of the individuals comes to Jesus and says, what is the greatest commandment? And he replies, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength, and body. This is the greatest commandment. And Jesus affirms and says, absolutely. Actually derives from Deuteronomy chapter 6, all the way back in the Old Testament. Here's the answer to this question that I think is critical. The discussion that Jesus had with that individual, yes, affirmed that's the greatest commandment. However, whomever submitted the question rightly observed, there's no way to do it. There's none of us can actually fulfill that. It reminds me a lot of the Sermon on the Mount. In the Sermon on the Mount, chapters 5-7 of the book of Matthew, Jesus lays out every basic expectation of morality and ethics that humanity should be a part of in relationship to God. The problem is we fail. Not just most of them, all of them, but in some cases, just a few of them, which is enough. And that's why this answer is so important. It is impossible to love God with everything that you are, to never doubt and to never sin, which brings the greatest need that we have for Jesus Christ. I don't think Jesus affirmed that question in Matthew 22 to tell the guy, hey, you're on the right track, everything's good. I think he was affirming it to say, that's the greatest commandment, and you can't do it. Nobody can do it. That's why you need a Savior. That's why you need a Messiah. That's why we need Jesus Christ so desperately in our lives. So let me close by referring back to the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus closed that famous sermon by giving an illustration of two men who built a house. One's on solid rock, one's on shifting sand. The storms came, the wind blew, only one survived. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13, it makes it very clear that Jesus Christ is that rock. There's no amount of self-righteousness that we can ever do to save ourselves, and every one of us at some level has failed at the greatest commandment, which means we need Jesus desperately for our life today and for our life in eternity. Great question. If you have one, send to askjeff.net. Maybe your question will be tomorrow's. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at askjeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.